Thank you for auditing the always positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who's wearing his wife's scarf. In honor of Harry Styles' album Harry's House. Harry House. Ray Harryhausen's album Harry Styles. Now I have to tell you something about this. I have never in my entire life intentionally heard a Harry Styles song. I don't even know if I've heard a One Direction song. I think they had some song called like You're Beautiful or like That's Why You're Beautiful. That's saying something to me. But you know, I haven't been paying that much attention to pop music before 2018. When his last album came out in 2019, I just kind of missed it. I was just getting this channel going. I didn't really understand how important of a figure Harry Styles was. So this is kind of a fun experience for me to really take this artist, to take him seriously, to listen to him for the first time. The only thing I knew about him was that people liked or found it challenging that he sometimes wore women's clothing, hence the scarf. I did ask my wife if I could borrow one of her sweaters, but I'm a big guy in a little sweater. It's not worth it for the joke. And frankly, this is already getting hot. I'll see how long I can wear it. So I'm interested. You know, I'm coming in with an open mind. I'm not going to sit here with my arms folded saying, this is pop trash. Nor am I going to say, oh my God, this is the future. I'm just going to experience this music as a neophyte. He is a part of what I call a Pinocchio pop star. There's a few of these, you know, pop stars who, because by nature, these kind of teen created bands like NSYNC or Britney Spears or One Direction, you know, they're very created by record companies and by advertising firms, and they're created, and sometimes the artists become a real boy or a real girl. You know, I'm thinking like Justin Timberlake or Kesha. Like a real artist springs out of what may be the least expected place, which is a successful artist who is completely and totally created by a record company. So that's how I'm kind of coming into this. I find it interesting. I don't immediately discount Pinocchio pop stars because, hey, it's not their fault they had success, you know? They might have picked up some really interesting things. They might have figured out that having that much access to great creators and great producers and great music, maybe something really good is going to come out of it. And I would say, based on this, that something good did come out of it. I like this album. I like this album probably more than anyone else in my family. I'll get into that more later. You know, when it's good, it's a great pop album with like diverse influences, various atmospheres, really good production, and most of all, just, you know, you can lie. You can say that Harry Styles doesn't move you, you know. You can listen to him sing, especially like on the last song, you know, Love of My Life, and you can fold your arms and pretend not to be moved. Pretend like it doesn't move, but you know, like you can't help it. Like he's a very charismatic. There's a reason that he's such a big pop star. When it's bad, it's Maroon 6-ish. So I'll get into that. For the most part, though, it's not really in that bad zone. I do have to address something. You know, I do a lot of reviews, and for the most part, I'm a 44-year-old dude. So most of the music I review isn't for me, right? I mean, once you reach a certain age, music isn't really supposed to be for you, unless it's like, I don't know, ABBA or Adele or Greta Van Fleet or a reissue of a Who album, you know? But in particular, in a different way, you know, because I listened to, you know, Future, and when I did my review of the Future album, a lot of people were saying, this isn't for you, Sky, this isn't for French professors, people with doctorates, this is for this is for that. But what's interesting about this album is the position that Harry Styles and his songwriting team present. Now, I don't know how responsible he is for his own music. I assume that he writes a lot of his music, and I assume that his producers are really there to direct it and to make a really good product. That's what I assume. But they have kind of a tricky thing going on here, where they have two distinct demographics. They have the teens and the preteens, the Tiger Beat crew from like age 10 to 17. And then you have the middle-aged woman, you know, 35 to 50. Now listen, I hope you live to 120, in which case you'll be middle-aged when you're 60. But culturally speaking, middle age is around 35 to 50. And And in general, Harry Styles, his audience, from what I can tell, is nothing in between. It really is those two different groups. Last year, I live about 6 hours from New York City. I live in New York State, but about 6 hours from New York City. And like every single girl in my kids' high school drove down to New York City, drove to Madison Square Garden, and saw Harry Styles in concert. And I saw all over the Facebook with all my parent friends, all these pictures of it. And this is kind of like an example of this moment. It's for younger middle-aged women and their daughters. Now, this might sound dismissive. Please understand, I am not into dismissing things that women like. It is a complete and total, undeniable fact that if women or girls like something, people dismiss it as being less than. That is not my interest. That is not my belief. I will never, ever go after Twilight. Okay? I will never go after Panic at the Disco. I will never go after Harry Styles. It's a deep-seated misogynistic tendency to immediately discount things that are loved by women and girls. So that's part of the other reason I want to take this really seriously is, hey, it's not for me, but it's not like it's not well crafted. It's not like it's not well conceived. I did have sort of a weird thing to say about this, though. When your audience is girls between 10 and 17 and women between 35 and 50, and most of your songs are romantic and trying to be seductive, you're trying to seduce two very different groups of people. It puts you in a weird position. And it makes you a jailbait and a groomer, sort of all at the same time. Because part of Harry Styles' appeal, from what I can tell, I saw him in Dunkirk, he was great in Dunkirk, is that he's boyish, he's young, right? He was born in 94, I saw. A young guy, and he looks youngish. It's not like Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake, when he was a superstar, solo artist, he already had what we might call a beard. He was already sort of in that lane. Whereas Harry Styles is very much in that Timothée Chalamet place, where he is sort of an older bad boy with the tattoos who is serving as a Tiger Beat teen dream idol for young girls to fantasize about sort of emotionally and sexually, right? And then at the same time, he's like the younger, hot guy who's appealing to the middle-aged women emotionally and sexually at the same time. Between jailbait and groomer. And this is nothing new, okay? The Beatles had the same issue, all right? I mean, a lot of groups. Elvis had the same issue. A lot of these kinds of singers who have these kinds of audiences have to sort of thread that line. So I just want to put that thought out there, just as an interesting thing to study. This is not me putting it down. I don't think that makes it bad. It does make it interesting. And I think if there's one thing I don't like about this album lyrically, it's when it gets kind of creepy. An example, in one song, right, in the same song, we have a line in which he says, "Are you getting wet for me?" Which is like, all right, it's a little explicit, It's kind of a gross line. And then he says, "Do you think I'm cool or am I too into you?" Which is a great lyric. That's a perfect, I heard that. I was driving with my wife and my daughter, and she had a regatta down in Syracuse, and we were down there, and my wife was like, "Oh, you got to mention that line. That's a great line. That's the kind of line that you could talk about for 45 minutes, and it's true. Like, are you cool? Are you too into you? Like what a cool, vulnerable way to express that, like, his interest in this woman is so great that maybe he's not seen as cool. So that exists in the same song as "Are You Getting Wet for Me?" And then it ends with "You pop when we're intimate." Sorry, I just had to say that lyric out loud. It's kind of weird, and it's kind of gross, and it's kind of creepy. And I think that might be calculated. I think it's interesting because so much of this album is him being like, "Girl, I see you. Girl, no one else knows you but me. Girl, I want to let you in and love me forever." And then another part of it is like just a little bit of bad boy. Like, ew, did he just say he's doing coke? Oh my God. I think that's kind of an intentional position that he's in. And part of what makes this album, again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's interesting. This scarf is actually pretty hot. I have to say, okay, at least just lower it down to that. I don't want to sweat over my wife's nice scarf. The production here is handled all by Kid Harpoon and Tyler Johnson, who I don't know very well. I do like that he has these producers, and I haven't heard his last couple albums, but I see that the last album was produced by these guys as well. Very skilled production. As I will get into, when it's really good, it reminds me very positively of a pop version of The Strokes or Hippocampus. And again, when it's bad, it's just when it veers into that sort of middle-of-the-road, washy, sexy Maroon 6 territory. I did find a quote from Harry Styles where he says he wanted to make an acoustic EP all in my house, make it really intimate. I think he did that. I think this album is quite intimate. At the same time, it's not always intimate. Sometimes it's a little bit more poppy. Sometimes it's a little bit more polished. Sometimes it's very acoustic. I will say I've listened to it now probably 7 times, and each time I like it more. Each time my family likes it more. It's really funny because at a certain point, there I was driving with my 14-year-old daughter and my wife, who is in between the ages of 35 and 50. And I was forcing them to listen to Harry Styles. And my daughter wanted to listen to Doja Cat. My wife wanted to listen to George Balashevich. And I'm sitting there, and it's kind of the inverse of everything, So it's kind of funny. So let me give you my stamp. My example song on the album. You can press on the banana if you want to hear it. Turns out it's the lead single. It's called As It Was. And this is a good song because not only does my teenage daughter, who insists that she doesn't like Harry Styles, like the song, my 16-year-old son likes this song. They came down one day and said, "Dad, we agree. Harry Styles has a good song." I was like, oh, I don't care. But hey, I'm able to use it in my videos, so that's good. It's funny. It starts off with like some kid saying, "Harry, want to say goodnight to you." Reminds me a little bit of like that Jack Harlow vibe of like, the kids miss you, come home. This kind of thing that a lot of young male heartthrobs do, where they try to emphasize that they're like a erotically cool young uncle kind of thing. Which, I used to be an erotically cool young uncle. Jesus Christ, I said that out loud. I regret it. I don't edit my videos, so you're just going to have to... I'm going to have to sit with that sentence being out there. But this song is just great. And in the beginning, I think it's going to be a Take On Me cover, because these great synthesizer hook, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. But then I realized it's just the Strokes. This song, you replace Harry Styles' charismatic voice with Casablanca's dead-eyed drawl, and it's a Strokes song. Even the title, As It Was, it's just not the same anymore. As it's not the same as it was. It's really a similar theme, like the production, the way that it sounds, the chord progressions, and the insouciance, the coolness of Harry Styles' singing, even though his singing is really great. It's very tasteful and really well done. But everything about this really screams to me a pop version of the Strokes. Of course, the Strokes are fairly popish themselves. But I like these lyrics. In this world, it's just us. It's not the same as it was. And then this oddly confessional second verse, which most of the album, it feels like he's just trying to be sexy and like draw women into him and like be more of an object of fantasy. But here, Harry, answer the phone. Harry, you're no good alone. Why are you sitting at home on the floor? What kind of pills are you on? Ringing the bell. No one's coming to help. Your daddy lives by himself. It's really nice. like it's really like that's a breath of fresh air in these lyrics, which are a little too often like nobody sees you like I see you, girl. But really here, it's just, what kind of pills are you on? You're getting the sense that he's not just trying to be an object of attraction. He's trying to be an object of intimacy and accuracy. Just great drums, great lyrics. I wish there was more real drums on this album. I would say a little too much drum machine. I think because it reminds me of the Strokes when it's really good. I think it could use more real drums. And just a great bridge with this instrumental break and Christmas bells. And everybody in my family agrees. It's a great song. Now I'm going to go through the rest of the album a little bit quicker, opening up with the song Music for a Sushi Restaurant. That title sucks. It's okay though. I don't like that title. What I don't like about it is that it sort of implies a level of privilege that's pretty gross. But that's okay. I mean, it's got a cool guitar groove, nice. The rhythms are kind of feels a little bit pocketed, feels a little bit like manipulated in the studio, but still the voice comes in with a yell and then just a really cool bass riff that's the like a 80s drum fill, like a Phil Collins style drum fill, aggravating bah-wah horns all over the place, almost a Prince-like production, even some scatting, like music for whatever you want, scabba-dabba-dabba-daboo, which let me damn Harry Styles with faint praise. Very few people could imitate Prince in a way that doesn't make me violently angry. And Harry Styles did it. He didn't do it in a way where I thought, this is good, I want more of this. But I thought, all right, that's fine. I mean, Prince is fun. It's fun having all this kind of production stuff, and I don't really mind it. I am happy that the album didn't go in this direction because the production on here is just so maximal. Next song, Late Night Talking. Again, just his voice is just so charismatic and skillful. Kind of like silky 80s synthesizer hook here. Again, I really wanted more real drums. Like, if we could do like a stem thing where we like took out the drum machine and have a real drum thing happening. Here we're in these lyrics in the zone of just, I want to make you happy, late night talking. It really is, I think, designed to make the listener feel like he's talking about them. And like, I was up with Harry. We were talking late night. He just wants to make me happy. But just really impressive pop production here all the way through, just the vocal production and the melody. So like, okay, having a good melody is great and having good vocal production is great, but the combination of both on here, like that's where pop music can be great. You have a good vocal production and a good melody. I love the way at the end, I can't get you off my mind, the way he says that. Next song is called Grape Juice. I'm of two minds of this song. God, this is hot. Whew, that's better. Very kind of like aggro production, almost, I mean, not hyper pop, but a little bit like metallic, kind of avant-garde, and kind of simple laid back groove. Just more place for his like charisma. Again, he's buying flowers for you. For me, he bought, I take off my scarf right before he says the word flowers. He bought flowers for me? That's just amazing. I don't like replacing wine with grape juice. And I'll tell you why. Like, that whole thing I was talking about, like the grooming thing, like, often, like when children are groomed by adults, they're given wine and said it's grape juice. So, like, a couple glasses in, I know. My wife told me I should not even bring that point up. She's probably right. I'm not going to edit this out. So feel free to tell me, let's see, how can you tell me you disagree with that point? You can say, Sky, I disagree with your point. I hope you choke on your scarf. Okay? But just, there's something about like grape juice replacing wine when wine's an adult drink and grape juice is kind of a silly childlike thing. I think with his teen audience, to me, that's a little icky. It's a little on the icky side. But hey. Next song is called As It Was, which I already covered. That was the stamp. Then we get to the song Daylight. Not really liking this song too much. Maybe just too light. Just more Girl, I Love You. I do like how it has kind of a weird hard part. And this is where, if you're a Harry Styles fan, I'm going to try to turn you on to a couple groups. Definitely have a listen to the new Abnormal, because I think you'll hear that I think you'll hear that Harry Styles was listening to the Strokes. I don't know if he was. I'm not on the Reddits, right? Speaking of Reddits, join my subreddit, smash the like bucket, subscribe, like right now, and leave a comment about what I should do with my scarf. So I want you to listen to that. But also a band called Hippocampus. They're a sort of indie rock band out of Minnesota. But there's a kind of like bright-eyed, poppy coolness to the production of this album in particular that really at times it feels like it blends into the kind of Harry Styles sound. Now that's crazy, and I think I have a lot of my viewers are Hippocampus fans. They're probably not watching this video. They might think I'm crazy. But there's something about the clarity of the singer's voice and the kind of optimistic, rocky, poppy production. I think if you like this album, just give that a shot, okay? Next song is called Little Freak. Great vocal production, but I don't like this song very much. Again, it's like this. It's like the multiple audiences. So like starting off, Little Freak, you Jezebel. Like freak is a term for someone who's like very sexually adventurous, but attaching the word little, a little gross considering his audience is largely preteens and teens. And then Jezebel, meaning like a sexually promiscuous woman. It's like Little Freak, you Jezebel. And then later, the most suburban mom directed lyric I have ever heard in any music everywhere. Hide the body that yoga gave you. Nice. Terrible. Hide the body that yoga gave you is the worst lyric of 2022. Just gonna say it. And I am not crapping on. This is a good album. I like Harry Styles. So if you like Harry Styles and you think I'm a hater, I'm not a hater. I like it. People ask me now, hey, what do you think of Harry Styles? Dude's pretty good. I like his songwriting. I like his charisma. I like that he plays around with gender norms. I think he's a good force in music. But that line, hide the body that yoga gave you, is, as the kids would say, crunch. And again, if you do like this song, maybe check out Bambi by Hippocampus. Again, it does remind me of that. And again, he sings about his birthmark. Like this is, I don't know if it's calculated, but it feels calculated because a birthmark is a sign of intimacy on someone's body. So it's that whole sort of like, where is my birthmark? I know. Matilda is the next song, more like I see you music, your family doesn't understand you, but I do. But it's another kind of good song, a little bit lower, sort of like low key. And then we get to the song Cinema, with those lyrics I quoted from before. This is a Daft Punk song. It's an attempt to be a Daft Punk song. Not any Daft Punk song, two Daft Punk songs. This song is if Something About Us and Get Lucky had a baby. It would be this song, Cinema. And I'm not saying that to insult it, because, hey, you want to imitate Daft Punk? Good luck. So it reminds me of the song Something About Us in just this groove that it has, this just great kind of crunchy funk groove, kind of nice funk guitar and drums. And I listened to this, Something About Us, and then, Cinema, Something About Us, Cinema, like back to back to back to back. And it was really enjoyable. It's like a fun thought experiment to hear these songs being really together. Harry Styles might be lacking some of the originality, some of the subtleties, some of the songcraft, but he is able to create a similarly catchy, enjoyable song with a similar, agreeable atmosphere, which is really quite impressive. And then at the end, it gets to be a Get Lucky style song where they kind of repeat this. They repeat these lines over and over again. Pop, pop, the cinema, pop, pop, but when you get intimate, all that stuff. Like he repeats it over and over again. It's very much like the We Are All Mexican Monkeys part of Get Lucky, right? That kind of end part where We Are All Mexican Monkey, right? So it's a very effective synthesis of those things. And I don't think it sounds like it's speaking of monkeys, I don't think it's aping Daft Punk. I don't think it's biting. I don't think it's like a terrible ripoff. I think it's, to a certain extent, at times on this album, when I talk about what makes it great is these multiple influences, it just feels like he or they are successfully taking these influences, like The Strokes and like Daft Punk, and kind of mixing them in together and then processing it through his amazing charisma and voice. Next song is called Daydreaming. Total pop on the hook with the ba-ya, even like a Michael Jackson, like whoo, and then even kind of a Stevie Wonder style sound here. Great bridge with like just the guitar and the hook being sung. And then there's sort of like a Nile Rodgers style guitar. And so that's what's, again, talking about Daft Punk. Nile Rodgers helped to repopularize Daft Punk helped to repopularize Nile Rodgers style guitar. So it's that kind of funk disco guitar where you play the rhythm and then also you play a lead line over it. I read the credits. It turns out the guitar is not played by Nile Rodgers. It's played by John Mayer. I saw John Mayer play with the Grateful Dead over the summer. And that dude can really play guitar. It turns out that's my summary of John Mayer. And he's fine here. I want to hate John Mayer. I want to hate John Mayer so bad. Probably more than I want to hate Harry Styles. But I don't hate either of them. They made a good song. Next song is called Keep Driving. Probably my second favorite song after As It Was. A nice kind of shuffling beat, a little bit odd. Almost like everybody wants to rule the world. That kind of... I mean, it's sung a little bit better than that. Like, I sang it... Like, I just sang really well. You can just go back and hear me sing it again. I have perfect pitch. If you're deaf. But it has that kind of feel to it. More, but also again, it has that insouciance of the Strokes as well. This does also remind me of the Strokes in a lot of different ways. I like the lyrics here, the chorus. A small concern is how the engine sounds. We held darkness in withheld clouds. I would ask, should we just keep driving? As far as a message on this album, message R2, the message, I would say that it's, for the most part, it's tied into this. Just, things have been tough. We've been isolated. It's kind of a COVID album. The idea that it's inside of a house, it's almost inside related, but just this idea of sort of just keep driving, just keep moving on. Then the next verse I really enjoy, all about breakfast food, which I like breakfast food. A weird sort of dark side, what I'm talking about? Like, so we had this kind of sweet thing about, let's just keep driving, just keep swimming, just keep driving. Hey, let's have some pancakes and bacon and all that stuff. And then the bridge is like, cocaine and side boob, choker with a sea view. Oh, all right. But I think he has to always keep that for his general aura. That he's never totally safe, never totally anodyne. Next song is called Satellite. Another nice kind of weird one. I do like how weird this album is. It is weird. Like with the Grape Juice song and then this song, Satellite. It for somebody who I think gets tarred with the brush of just being a pop star, he really does some pretty good stuff here. Kind of ethereal, like the voice is slightly modulated and cool. Kind of like a very unexpected, tight and poppy chorus. Lots of great dynamics. It's very catchy and moving. Boyfriends is the next song. Like tons of again, it's weird. There's all this studio trickery with things going backwards and then a guitar, which it turns out is played by Ben Harper. Ben Harper, now that's a name I have not heard in a long time. God, I remember being tortured by Ben Harper's music when I was in college. Just all my friends who are stoners would play that one damn song. I'm gonna burn one down. Great, but could you burn it down outside, not in our dorm room, please? Because I'm trying to study for my art history exam. But anyways, but he's a good guitarist, and realistically, he's probably pretty good. I then lived in Europe, and in Europe, they're crazy for Ben Harper. Like, he's a superstar in Europe, and kind of a minor figure here in America. But again, these lyrics, they're more kind of just wish fulfillment for women. This handsome guy who's talking about how boyfriends don't understand you. Sorry, one second, I got my scarf on here. Boyfriends, they think you're so easy. They take you for granted. They don't know. They're just misunderstanding. Like he's the one who's going to save you. He should be your boyfriend. The album ends with Love of My Life. And here's the thing. If you're still watching this review for some reason and you're a Harry Styles hater, just listen to this song because you're powerless. I'm powerless. I think we are all powerless before this song. It's all led with this beautiful voice, these kind of low synthesizers. It's very personable, very real, very relatable. We don't like the news, but it's on all the time. Don't know where you'll land when you fly, but baby, you were the love of my life. And his voice, I swooned. Okay? I'm a 44-year-old dude. I swooned. That's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to make you swoon. And I hear this song, and I hear the intensity, and the power, and the clarity, and the beauty, and I swooned. I understand. What the 11-year-old girls and the 39-year-old women understand. I understand it in a song like this. It's just really impressive. The final suggestion I would make, and I don't know what Harry Styles is up to. I don't know if he's like the kind of guy who looks for cool references, if he pays a lot of attention to different kinds of music. You can tell me in the comments. But he reminds me of a different Harry Nilsson. And I compare a lot of people to Harry Nilsson. Basically, any male who has a really good voice, I often compare to Harry Nilsson because this is the greatest pop performance on any album in the history of humanity. It's on this album, Nilsson Schmilsson. But the acrobatics, the tasteful acrobatics that he has on this song, that intimacy, that feeling, it's all right there. So there's my review. There's my first experience with Harry Styles. I don't know what I'm going to call this video. I don't think I'm going to do the Groomer thing. That just seems like clickbait. I don't know. These are my my Patreons. So I got a new system here. So thank you to all these people. They give me money, and then I buy new music with it, which is super cool and awesome. I just got some West Side Gun album recently, and these are the folks that give even more. So super big thanks to them. So yeah, thank you all, and thank you for watching, and subscribe and smash the like bucket. Okay. Sorry, I got a Tdap vaccine. I'll take all the vaccines. Tdap stands for tetanus, diphtheria, anointment, and Probopass. So I'm free from those, but like I feel like I have the flu. My arm is dead. I'm a little low energy. I'm a little Jeb Bush right now, but hopefully it was a good video. Tell me in the comments. All right, there's the camera.